Hi, in this tutorial we're gonna take a look at creating this e-commerce start page screen inside React Native. Now for this project I'm using React Native version 0.49.5 and I'm also using the Expo client version 22. So we're gonna create this start page for e-commerce. Looks something like this. And now if you don't have any idea how to create apps, I'm gonna leave a link in the description to my series How to Become an App Developer, where you can check it out, how to get started with this kind of stuff. But now, as you can see, I've already created this app folder. If you haven't created it yet, go ahead and create an app folder here inside the root of your project. Also create an image folder and a components folder inside the app folder. In the image folder, just download a couple of images, commercial free images from anywhere. I'm just using some site where they get a couple of commercial free images that I just downloaded. So go ahead and do that, because I'm not gonna download images inside the tutorial. So just make sure you get this folder structure set up. And I'm just gonna go ahead and delete everything so we can start over on a fresh project. Gonna delete the style sheet, and I'm gonna delete all of these components I've created so we can create them in real time. There we go. I'm gonna delete these imports. So the first thing you're gonna do, make sure that you have created a new blank project with create React Native app command, and as default you get the style sheet, text and view components imported. Also go ahead and delete or import the scroll view because we're gonna use it, and also import the image component. Now open up this app.js file, which is the starting file for this e-commerce screen. And we're gonna start by just creating a scroll view. We can give it a style of container, so styles.container, and close it off. We're just gonna create some simple style sheets for this container. We can give it a flex of 1. Also, let's give it a background color. You can give it FFF, that's hex for white. So with the flex 1 property, this scroll view will take up the app's entire y-axis and x-axis. So it will start up here and then down here, and it will start over here and then over here. Now, this will also make the app scrollable, okay? That's what we use in the scroll view. So I'm just gonna go ahead and reload the application now, or the emulator now. So we got a blank project. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and create the header part, which is gonna consist of just a little image I've already downloaded, a cart icon, and just some text. So go ahead and go to the app and components folder, create a new file. We can save this as header.js, and just go ahead and copy all the code from app.js and import it to header.js. Now I'm gonna change the syntax to Babel. If you don't have Babel installed, just Google how to install it. It's very simple. So now inside the header component, we do not need the scroll view component, but however we're gonna keep the image component, and we can keep the view and the text and the style sheet as well. And I realized now we want to actually need the image component inside app.js, so you can go ahead and delete that one from app.js, so we're not importing anything unnecessary. So save app.js without the image component imported. So now inside the header component, we're gonna just rename the class to header, and then we're gonna delete the container style, and create a new view. Let's give this a style of, we can just call it header. That's what it is. And inside the header, let's create an image. Now we can give the image a source. So let's see. We're gonna just require, we need to go up one folder and into the image folder. And I've named this image to cart.png. So it's this image right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and require it. And also let's give this style. Let's call the style cart. And let's close the image off. Also let's create a text component. We can give it a style of logo. And just add some text inside the text component. I'm gonna call it e-commerce. Like that. Now let's go down and create the style sheets for the header. We want it to have some height, so it's visible. Give it a height of 80. Also let's add some margin top, just to get it away a little bit from this status bar. We can add 20. Let's add some background color. Give it white, FFF. Also we're gonna set the flex direction to row. So the elements inside the header will be aligned along the header's x-axis. Also we're going to use align item center and also justify content center to align the elements inside the header vertically and horizontally, so along the x-axis and y-axis. Also let's add some padding to it. And a border bottom, we can give it a width of 4 and a border bottom color. And don't worry, I'm gonna update the emulator soon so you can see what we're doing, because now we're just coding blindly like that. And let's also create the style right now for the cart icon. Let's give it a width of 40, height of 40. Now this is just a PNG icon I downloaded of with a blue background and a shopping cart inside it. Let's also create some styles for the logo, which is the text right here. Of course, you can use an image or something for the logo as well, but for now I'm just gonna keep it to a text. We're gonna give it a font size of 20, add some margin left, just so it gets away a little bit from the cart icon. And let's give it a font style. We can give it italic, looks a little bit better. And let's add some color. 29, that's almost black, just something like that. So now go into open up app.js and let's just import the header and check out how it looks, if it looks decent. So import header from, let's see, app/components /header. Now we're just gonna require the header inside the scroll view. So just import it like that. I'm gonna reload the emulator and see what we got. It's taking a while. Yeah, there you go. We got a decent looking header to start off with. In it, it looks decent. It's good for a start. So now the next part we want to do is create some kind of banner down here with some big image and some text on it. So go ahead and create a new file inside the components file folder. Sorry. And we're gonna just name this banner.js. And we can go ahead and copy all the code from header.js. Paste it into banner. I'm gonna change the syntax to double. And let's rename the class to banner. I'm gonna delete everything inside here and delete all the style sheets. So now inside the banner we do not need the text component, we will only use the style sheet, and also let's use the image inside the banner. So now let's go ahead and just create a new image, give it a source. And you can use any image you want here, it doesn't matter. So up one folder into image folder. I'm gonna use the image that I named image5.jpg. And you can just require any image you have downloaded. And give it a style, we can just call it banner. And close off the image. So there we got the image ready. And let's just add a style for it. I think there might be something wrong in the, let's see. Oh, I'm not closing off the image correctly. So the banner, let's give it a width of 100%, so it takes up the screen's entire x-axis. We're gonna center everything that's added inside this image later. We're gonna center it along the y-axis and x-axis. So justify content and align items, and set both of them to center. So yes, let's open up the app.js and let's just copy this line of code, sorry, and let's import the banner. And let's see now if we reload the emulator. I think we might get an error. I think I forgot something right here. Yeah. Open up banner.js and add a comma sign there, of course. And then we're gonna try to reload the emulator and see what we got. And yeah, we got the banner image showing right now. It's taking up the entire x-axis and its height is automatically set, so we're gonna keep it like that. And now just to tell you, this also works great in iOS. I'm using the Android emulator, but I'm keeping my phone to the side so I can see it on iOS also, and it looks exactly the same. So that's the banner part. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add some content below the banner. So let's just go ahead and create a new component for that. We can call it, save it as content container.js. And we can copy all the code from header.js and paste it here. Change the syntax. Taboo. I'm gonna delete everything here. And let's also delete in the return. And let's rename it content container, like that. Now we're just gonna create a new view. Oops. And let's give it a style of, we can call it content container. That's gonna add a style for it right now. Do we want in the content? We're gonna need some elements stacked along the x-axis and also below each other. So let's go ahead and do like this, content container, and give it a flex one. Also add a flex direction. Set it to row so we can align the items inside the content container along the x-axis. And let's set it to flex wrap as well, so the elements inside the content container can span across multiple lines. And let's add some padding because we're gonna need it later, so we get some padding from the sides to the elements inside here. So now let's start by just defining a couple of simple view layouts. There can be certain sizes which we're gonna use. So let's start by just creating a new view, give it a style of, we can call this col1, stands for column 1, and just close it off. Copy this one, we can paste it above the column 1, and call it column 2. And also let's copy this view here. We're gonna create also a view with a style of content banner. So now this column 1 view will have a flex of 1, and this column 2 view, we're gonna give it a flex of 2. So anything we put inside the column 2 view is gonna be a little bit bigger than the column 1 view. So when they stack along the x-axis next to each other, the column 2 view will take up a little bit more space, and the column 1 view will be a little bit smaller. And we're gonna make the content banner fill the entire space along the x-axis, so 100% width. That should be enough for the views right there. Yes, let's go ahead and create the style sheets for these views. We can start with the column 1. We're gonna just set flex. Oops. Let's set it to a flex of 1. Let's add some padding. Set it to 5. And same for column 2. Let's give it a flex of 2 since it's a little bit bigger than column 1. So you can play along with this how you want. Let's add some padding. We're gonna give it the same. And then finally content banner, which will look basically like this banner, but it's gonna be, we're gonna need to add margin on it, so we cannot reuse this component. So we're gonna add some margin and stuff to it. So let's create the content banner. Let's give it a width of 100%. And don't worry, we're gonna fill these views with the elements soon, with image and text and stuff. And we want to align items to the center. We also want to justify content to center inside this as well. Let's give it a padding of 5 as well, so it's exactly the same as these columns. So now, let's say we got this column 2 right here, and then we got the column 1 right here. So we need some images to begin with inside these views. So what we need to do is we need to actually create a new component. So the component is a new file. Save it as custom image.js, and yes, copy all the code from, or we can copy the code from, let's copy the code from banner.js, paste it inside custom image, and rename the class custom image. Now inside this component, we only need to import the style sheet and the image. And now this is gonna be the components that holds our image, and we're creating an entirely new component, so we can just include this component here later. So if we want to change anything to the images, you just have to change it in this file. Okay, so we got an entire component containing the image that we want to display inside these view boxes, inside the columns and the content banner. You will see soon how it works. So let's see here. We can keep this image tag, and instead of requiring an image inside it, we're gonna just say this.props. Let's call it image source. That way we can pass a source from the parent component down to this custom image component. Let's give it a style. We can call it let's call it image, why not? And let's add some styling for it. We're gonna keep the width at 100%. Let's give it a static height or fixed height of 200, so they are always the same height. That will make it a bit easier to work with the layout along the y-axis, since they will be perfectly stacked in the same height. And let's keep this align item center, justify content center, because we're gonna have some text inside this image component as well. So that's it for the custom image component. Now let's just see if we can use it. So open up content container, and here we can just, let's do like this. Import the custom image component we just created from custom image. They are in the same folder, so yes, /. And let's try to use it and see how it works. So custom image, and we provided a prop for it, which we can pass down as image source, right? And in here, let's just require an image then. So let's say up one folder into the image folder, and I'm gonna use image2 right here. You can use whatever image you downloaded. It's gonna move the emulator a little bit to right, like that. And let's close off the custom image command and reload and see what we got. So nothing will be displayed now, of course, since we haven't included the content container inside the app.js. So open up app.js and let's import content container from app/component/content container. I'm just going to include it down here. And let's reload now and see what we got. Yeah, as you can see, we got this image now inside the content container. So we're successfully passing down the required image from the content container and passing it down to the custom image component, where we're displaying it as the source. So we got this column 2 with a flex of 2, right? So it's bigger than half the screen, of course. Now let's add another image to the, can add it to the column.1. So just copy this part, and let's paste it here. And I'm just gonna use image.3.jpg and reload the emulator. Let's see what we got now. Yeah, now we got this image right here as well, and as you can see, they are perfectly splitting the space between them. As we said, the column 2 a little bit bigger and column 1 a little bit smaller, thanks to flex. Now let's also add some image inside the content banner. Let's see how that view works. So I'm gonna give this let's just pass one image 1. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, now we get this image here. Let's see if we can scroll down. Yeah, we can scroll down as well. And also, as you can see, we got this white space between first of the content container to the element, which is 5 pixels, so in the center here. Then the remaining 5 pixels is from the actual column 2, column 1, and content banner, which all three got 5 pixels or 5 in padding. So now what we can do is go ahead and let's copy these two, column 2 and column 1, and paste them down here. And just change order of them. Yes, say column 1 and column 2. And reload and check how that looks. And of course you can specify different images here as well. But yeah, now you can see they are exactly the same as here, but they are different in size, as we specify this one to be column 2 and this one to be column 1. So yeah, let's keep it at something like that. It's pretty good. So now also what we would like to do is we would like to add some kind of text to these, right? So we got like a header and then some paragraph below on each image. So let's create a new component for that. We could call it, let's call it image overlay. Let's create a new file in the components folder. Save it as you can say it image overlay.js. And yes, let's see. Let's copy all the code from custom image.js and paste it here. And I'm gonna change the syntax to Babel. So we need a style sheet in this component. We do also need the text and the view. So let's import those. And let's change the class name to image overlay. So now let's see. Can just start by defining the return. So just create a view. We don't need to give it any style in this case. And let's see now. Actually, what we can do is we can make this component dynamic, so we can pass the header as props and also the paragraph as props into this component from the parent component later. So let's just do it like this. We can call the header, create a new let, name it header, and let's check if this does props.header. So if header is specified in the props, let's just return this text style element, or text element. We can give it a style of overlay header, and inside this we're gonna have the value of this.props.header, and close it off. And if header is not specified, let's just say no, so the header won't be rendered at all. That way we can choose whether or not to have header. Let's do the same with the paragraph. So let's say let paragraph equals to this.props.paragraph. If it's set, let's just we can call styles.overlay text, and inside this is gonna be the paragraph that we're gonna pass via props. So this is props.paragraph, something like that. And if it's not set, let's just set it to null. Now what we can do is actually just include the header right there, and let's include the paragraph right here. So now if the header is set, the header will be displayed here as this. And if the paragraph is set, it will be displayed right here as this. It's this part. So now we just have to define some nice styles for this component. So let's just start by defining the overlay header, which is the top part here, the top text part. Now we're gonna use some shadow up for this. So let's say shadow color, yes, black. And let's add shadow offset as well. I'm gonna pass in an object here and give it a 0 along the x-axis, and let's give it 2 along the y-axis and the height, something like that. And shadow opacity, we can set that pretty high. Let's say it's 0.8, and some radius. Now this is what I'm doing now, is typing the shadow style properties for iOS, for iPhone, alright? Now for Android you will just do like this, like that. So this part is for iOS shadow, and this part is for Android shadow. Just elevation, let's set it to 1. Also, let's set align self center so it fits the text, or the text view fits its content. We can use a big font size on this one. Set it to 28. Also, let's add some color to it. We can just say pretty dark, 29, 29, 29. And text align center. So all text inside here gets centered. And padding, let's set it to 10. And some background color, we could use RGBA for this. Let's make it white with some transparency, 255, 255, 255. Let's set the transparency to 0.6. And also it's a header, so give it a font weight of bold. Yeah, something like that. We will see how this looks later. Let's go ahead and create the overlay text as well while we're at it. Now let's just copy all of this shadow so we can use some shadow on the overlay text element as well. So let's use the same shadow color, the same offset. We can use a little bit of less opacity. So set the opacity to 0.6 on the overlay text. Also, we can actually copy this part as well from the overlay header. So let's set it like this. Now the font size don't need to be 28 on the paragraph, so we can use 16 instead. Let's also set the font style. Let's set it to italic in the paragraph. And we can use the same color. We'll use text line center. We can use a little less padding on this one. And let's remove the font weight bold as well. And yeah, let's add some margin top to this one so it gets a little way away from the overlay header part. Something like that. So let's see how this works now. So open up. Let's see, we can start with the banner. And let's just import image overlay. We're in the same folder, so from /image overlay. And now we can actually use, let's do like this. Open up the image tag again, or the image component, and close it down here instead. And now we can actually pass the image overlay component we have created inside the image component. So let's see now. Yeah, let's do like that. And then we're just gonna pass the props we specified. So header equals with, we can set this, we can name this header to React Native. You can type whatever you want here. And let's set a paragraph, the paragraph as well. Now remember, if you leave this empty, they won't be printed inside the, let's see, inside the image overlay component. So if you leave them empty, they will be completely blank. The elements won't be rendered. Paragraph for this, let's see, let's say e-commerce, something like that. Now let's just close off the image overlay, reload the application, and let's see if we got any results. I think this should be pretty correct. Yeah, so we can see now we got this header part with some shadow, and we got this bottom part as well. Now we got this arrow, I don't know why. Let's open up image overlay. Oh, I don't know why I added this one there. So let's just remove this arrow and hit save. I added it by mistake, and just reload the emulator and let's see. So now we got some text inside the banner. Now all we want to do, let's add some text inside these as well, so you know you can have jackets or jeans or shoes or whatever you want. So let's see now if we maybe can use the custom image for this. Yeah, actually open up the custom image component, and we're gonna add the image overlay directly inside this component. Image overlay from /image overlay. So this way we can actually, instead of creating a new image overlay component every time inside each image, inside the content container, let's just create an image overlay directly into the custom image and call the image overlay component from here. That will probably be a lot easier to work with in the end. So let's just do like this. Now we can pass this down multiple times. So let's just do like this, image overlay, And let's set up the header paragraph, right? And let's pass this now 2 times. So this does props.header. And let's also create the paragraph, which is always passed to the image overlay. And let's set it as this.props.paragraph and close it off. Let's see, so I'm doing this right as well. The image, yeah, the image is supposed to start tag ends there. Then comes this, and then we're gonna close the image down here. It's like that. So now we can actually call, let's see, let's open up content container. And we should be able to do something like this. Let's start with this picture and check so it works. So we got the image source. Let's also try to see what happens if we add the header prop now. So let's say, what should we use here? We can use shirts, not shorts, shirts, as the header prop. And reload and see if we got the result. Yeah, as you can see, we actually got these shirts now. So what we're actually doing is we're using the custom image. We're passing a header and a paragraph, in this case only a header, to the custom image component, right? In the custom image component, we're importing the image overlay component and passing on header and paragraph again to the image overlay. And here we deal with the logic of displaying the header and paragraph, right? So it goes from it goes through 3 components, right? But this makes it kind of dynamic to work with as well. So it's a decent solution. So let's just use that. Now let's just go ahead and add some we can add to this one as well. Header shoes, and now you see it's really easy to just go ahead and add whatever you want. Let's go to the content banner, so the image right here, and we can just add let's say header, jacket, and then let's pass a paragraph. Let's say lorem ipsum dolor sita meet, or whatever it's called, like that, and reload. So yeah, now we actually got a header right here as well, and for here we got the header as well as the paragraph, right? And here we haven't specified anything, so we got nothing. But as you can see, you can keep on adding the header and paragraph props to whatever custom image element you want, and that will give them a header and a paragraph. And you can also just change around the layout really easy. Change column 1, column 2. Now these will change size, so this one will be small and this one will be bigger, like that. So that's how to create a simple e-commerce screen in React Native. Bye bye.